Hello Sagittarius, and welcome to your new moon lunar cycle reading for the powerful eclipse season of January 2019. So we are heading into a cycle of change and metamorphosis once again as we approach these eclipses, beginning with a Capricorn eclipse on the 5th or 6th of January, depending on where you are in the world, and culminating with a Leo full moon eclipse on the 20th or 21st, again depending on where you are in the world. So of course eclipses can bring rapid new beginnings and also endings into our lives. Things can change considerably quite quickly, and we are also in a phase of fiery rebirth this month as Venus comes into your sign, Mars moves through Aries, and all planets are moving direct as from the eclipse, as Uranus stations direct on the same day. So we have this theme that I've been talking about in the videos of deconstructing in order to reconstruct. So some of our foundations may be shaked and some changes may need to happen both internally and externally before we can move forward onto our pathway of destiny. So we begin this month for you, Sagittarius, with this eclipse in Sagittarius, eclipse in Capricorn, you're a Sagittarius, which falls in your second house, which we know is an area of intensity right now with Pluto and Saturn and the South Node there. And as we've talked about in previous videos, this is the house that is traditionally associated with wealth, with prosperity, with finances, so our material resources, but also our energetic resources like our time, our energy, and our creative gifts and talents. So this is a good time for a new beginning in all of these areas. So I always feel when we have an eclipse in the second house, this is a really good time for us to lay the seeds in fertile soil that we really wish to sprout and manifest over this lunar cycle. So second house eclipses are often some of the most beneficial, second house new moon eclipses. But it's very, very important that we are willing to commit to what we set into motion. It's very important that what we are setting into motion is aligned with our own personal, moral, ethical code and our integrity. Because of the nature of eclipses, you may also notice some shake-ups in these areas of your life, or some revelation. We might be hit with a hard dose of reality around how we're using these resources, which forces us into change, or perhaps some old ways of sharing our talents or making money has to be let go of in order to build something, to construct something for the future. So the more that we can work with the Saturnian energies of focus and discipline in this area of our life, the bigger the dreams we can build. So in many ways this can be a very beneficial eclipse and a very beneficial month for you, Sagittarius, because we've got Mars currently driving through your fifth house, and of course he's a fellow fire sign, so he's going to make a trine to your Sagittarius planets at some point during his 6-week journey through Aries. So you may be feeling, bursts of inspiration, bursts of creativity, almost like a Kundalini fire awakening energy as Mars moves through this very fiery, exciting, passionate space of your birth chart. The fifth house is connected with Leo, which of course is where the second eclipse of the cycle will fall for you, and that eclipse will fall in your 9th house, which is another fiery house, also associated with inspiration and higher wisdom and higher knowledge. So there can be, you know, during this Leo eclipse on the 20th, 21st, lots of insights, lots of downloads coming in. Perhaps we'll have some exciting new spiritual truth comes in that forces us to change our thinking in some way. Perhaps we'll discover a new sense of purpose or a new sense of truth. And again, as with eclipses, old truths, old beliefs, old ways of doing things are being cast out so new things can form. So we have this simultaneous energy of letting go and new beginnings, but it's a very fiery time for you, Sagittarius, which is perfect for you and, you know, your natural desire to explore, to drive for freedom and to make change, because Venus also enters your sign the day after the Capricorn eclipse. So earlier on in the month, Venus is going to come into Sagittarius, and she's been lingering in your 12th house in Scorpio, where she did her retrograde dive, or most of her retrograde dive. We talked about the Scorpio Libra cusp in previous videos, but generally this eclipse for you was very, very deep, very internal. And Mars, when he was moving through Pisces the previous few months in your 4th house, very, very deep, very internal energy, very cleansing and nostalgic. So you might have not quite felt like yourself, Sagittarius, but now Venus comes into your sign and she's going to conjunct with Jupiter. So we have the great benefic and the lesser benefic coming together in Sagittarius just the day after this fiery Leo eclipse on the 22nd of January. So this can be one of the most positive days of the year for you. This can be a real time of attracting opportunity, attracting abundance, you know. This is almost your time to shine. When Venus moves through our sign, we feel more beautiful, we feel more attractive, you know. Venus is the ruler of the 2nd house that we discussed earlier, so we feel our value, we feel our pleasure, we feel like sharing ourselves with the world. And Venus and Jupiter come together and they say, perhaps your purpose is connected to what gives you pleasure, you know, that the pursuit of your dreams and visions should be a joyous experience. It shouldn't be, you know, filled with this striving, this forcing energy. This can remind you that life can be fun. You know, life can be an exploration. There are many, many, as you know, there are many, many different truths to explore. There are many different things to see and hear and feel. And it's often not achieving our purpose that is the goal, but it is who we become while we are chasing our dreams that is important. Our dreams, our visions are important because they change us. They call us into the person that we're becoming. Our aspirations, our truth calls us into our integrity. So this can be a really, really powerful and exciting month for you. But just be aware not to go into fear. If there are some, if you do feel like you're on shaky financial ground, or things are in a bit of a state of chaos earlier in the month, because your vision will clarify, your fire and your passion will return. Perhaps you'll change your path. Perhaps you'll find new ways, new creative solutions and ways to do things. This can be a month, like I said earlier, when those creative fires can be very, very stimulated. So be sure to act upon that. I'm going to pick you a card to culminate this reading from the Goddess Guidance Oracle deck. So I'm just going to give them a little bit of a shuffle for you, Sagittarius. Let's see what extra guidance we have for January. And this is a really interesting card. This is Green Tara. And the message of this card is start delegating. Ask others, including me, to help you instead of trying to do everything yourself. So perhaps you are feeling a little bit, with all of this Saturnian energy, a little bit overburdened with your responsibilities, and perhaps you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself, Sagittarius, or perhaps you're having a lot of insight coming in and you're, need to have the space and the time to process it and to choose a vision to focus upon. So this card for me is about you asking for help and delegating to others so you can have the space to do the things that you need to do. And maybe with Venus in your sign, you will actually be attracting helpful people that can support you and support your visions and dreams as well. And as I looked up, as I spoke that, I saw 1111 on the timer on my recorder. So yeah, watch out for those helpful people. Thank you so much for listening to me, Sagittarius. I am sending you so much love for an exciting and transformative eclipse cycle. If you wish to connect with me further, you can check the links below on my little information box. So much love.